You want me to put that on my todger?
This one's wife. They are coming back to the United Kingdom. Yes, scenes of panic, scenes of distaste, scenes of anger are unfolding across Britain at news that the gruesome twosome may well be returning to the United Kingdom. Sales of pitchforks and torches have increased by 6,000% as the populace has gone out to ensure that they are prepared for the return of Ginge and Whinge, of Hank and Skank, of this one and this one's wife. Heat, that bastion of serious journalism, reports last year was one that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex would probably rather forget. It was a humiliating 12 months for the couple, but saving their reputations and titles is the top of their 2024 goals. And we're told this one's wife and Harry are hoping a shock return to the United Kingdom, and a new royal ally will help them. Well, it is clear that 2023 was something of a shitter for the Sussexes, and with that indefatigable approach that's often seen with the Narcissist, she will believe that it's time to rehabilitate, that there's another comeback, though of course you have to be there to be able to come back, and that they are going to be able to turn things around. While Harry's solo trip to London last year for his father's coronation was just a flying visit, he spent less than 48 hours in the country, we're told the 39-year-old knows he and this one's wife, 42, will have to make more of an effort if they're going to make any headway with their estranged family. Harry wants this one's wife by his side as they line up meetings to air their grievances and make peace in a non-confrontational way, an insider tells Heat. It's time to cut losses, repair rifts, and ensure those titles don't go anywhere. Now, Harry may have a conciliatory approach, subjected, of course, to the stamp of approval that comes from his wife. This one's wife isn't conciliatory. Some narcissists, of course, express false contrition, the appearance of being sorry, when in actual fact it's clear that they're not. But it's another form of manipulation that is utilised in order to get to the prime aims. And she can at least recognise the importance of the connection to the royal family, even though she doesn't like it. She also is desperate to keep hold of the title, and if there was a suggestion that that was under threat, her narcissism would compel her to take action to try and prevent its loss. He continues by explaining, while we're told the pair still strongly believe they have been misunderstood, well, of course they do. It's never their fault. They're also aware that they'll have to approach their broken relationship with the royals carefully. They need to see it from a chess-playing perspective. Well, that's those two fucked. I doubt that they could play chess. Harry would probably start sucking on the knight piece, and this one's wife would play as if it was checkers or drafts. They need to see it from a chess-playing perspective, looking at the long game rather than settling scores. Our source explains, so now, instead of fighting head-on, they're taking a step back and trying a new approach. And it means biting their lips, keeping their heads down, and eating a large slice of humble pie. Well, we can file that under that's not going to happen. And it seems this one's wife is hoping to follow in the footsteps of one royal outsider who has managed to find her way back into the fold. After spotting Sarah Ferguson, 64, at the annual Sandringham Christmas Day Royal Walkabout, our insider says this one's wife is hoping to learn a thing or two about winning over the king. She's not going to try and learn anything about winning over the king. She believes she knows how to do it already. Now, Sarah Ferguson has got back in the fold as a consequence of the fact that she isn't a twat like Harry and this one's wife. She made some mistakes, but she's essentially a kind-hearted individual. She's not that bright either, and she was easily an individual that's head was turned by the prospect of money causing her to make bad decisions, and of course inviting the heir of Prince Philip. But she has kept her head down. She supported the monarchy. She hasn't gone elsewhere and thrown brickbats at them from overseas like the gruesome twosome. And therefore the passage of time and basically keeping her nose clean has meant that she has been welcomed back. That's a completely different scenario from that of this one's wife and Harry. Nevertheless, of course, this one's wife will look at Fergie and think, well, she got back in, so can I. There'll be a degree of, but what about Fergie? She got in, so you should let us back in. We're more important than she is. Naturally, she'll completely fail to see that the comparison is an odious one, that Fergie did not behave in the way that she has. This one's wife sees how Sarah has been accepted back into the family and finds it encouraging, he reports. She hopes Sarah can be an ally who'll stand up for her against the likes of Camilla and Kate, once again demonstrating the way that this one's wife uses people. If she and Harry make it to Britain for peace talks with Charles, Sarah's only ever said kind things about the Sussexes, and that hasn't gone unnoticed. It's one thing for her to say kind things about the Sussexes, but even Sarah Ferguson isn't stupid enough to stymie her recent return to the royal family by supporting the Sussexes, who are pariahs. Once again, that demonstrates the less than strategic approach that this one's wife adopts to these matters, and how, as I've repeatedly told you, because of her narcissism, she operates on a hand-to-mouth basis, operating in the moment. He continues, given the Sussex duo's close relationship with Fergie's daughter, Beatrice 35, and Eugenie 33, it seems getting her on the phone won't prove too much of a challenge. Sarah has certainly navigated some difficult waters over the years, but she's managed to charm her way back into Charles's good books, our insider says of the Duchess of York, who famously faced royal frostiness in the 1990s after pictures surfaced of her having her toes sucked by a suitor just months after separating from Prince Andrew. This one's wife's desperate to do the same. What, have her toes sucked? Okay. So she's asked Eugenie to set up a call with her mum. It's obviously a very delicate situation because Sarah's not going to want to jeopardise her position, indeed. But Eugenie's assured this one's wife that her mother will be happy to help. Well, if that's the case, she should go and work at Asda. But while Harry and this one's wife are seemingly set on rebuilding burnt bridges for the greater good of Brand Sussex, we're told the pair still aren't entirely willing to bend the knee, revealing that the stubborn streak still runs deep, or rather, more accurately, the resistance to a threat to control on the part of this one's wife. Our insider says Harry really longs to have his family back in his life, but he can't be the only one trying. This one's wife's agreed they'll need to bring their children, Archie 4 and Lilibet 2, in case you'd forgotten, to see Charles if they want to make any headway in mending things, but the effort can't be one way. They really want to see a reunion, but they're not going to beg. In other words, this one's wife wouldn't have a problem with the reunion if it suited her, and it was occasioned by the other side, who came to her offering the proverbial olive branch, apologising and recognising that she hadn't done anything wrong and she's the one that has been maligned and mistreated. This one's wife is not going to kowtow to the royal family, irrespective of what Sarah Ferguson might have achieved. There's no comparison between what Fergie has done and how this one's wife has behaved. They're complete chalk and cheese. Nevertheless, Heat magazine thinks that there is this opportunity that the Sussexes would seek to come back to the United Kingdom for the part of achieving a reconciliation. Remember, given the compartmentalisation of a narcissist, nothing is off the table. There's always the possibility that it could happen, but it's going to have to be on the terms of this one's wife. Why? Because she has to have that control. She has to be the one that is calling the shots because her narcissism dictates that that is required. It remains to be seen whether they will come back to the United Kingdom. A major problem for this one's wife, as I've explained on many occasions before, is that her narcissism perceives that there is a hostile population, a hostile media, and a hostile royal family, which means that the narcissism, being a self-defense mechanism, isn't going to put her in what she would perceive as the lion's den. It's going to take something really important to overcome those issues, one of which could be financial incentives. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.